three questions come up. What do I eat while on the trek? Where do I sleep? And how do I train? Let's look at these as well as continue the journey in this segment. Let's start with where we stay. You don't have to pitch tents to sleep. You stay in tea houses, which are pretty basic accommodations. Next, what do I get to eat? You actually get a few choices to eat, but the mainstay for lunch and dinner is what is known as dal bath, which is rice and lentils, and maybe few simple vegetables like potatoes and cabbage. And this is what you eat pretty much every single day. In fact, there's a saying in the Nepali community which goes something like this: dal bath power 24 hour. Meaning, if you eat this dal bath, you'll have enough energy to do whatever you want to do for the rest of the day. Day 5 of the hiking starts from this town of Dingboche, which sits at an elevation of about 12,700 feet. We are in Dingboche, and we are staying in this particular lodging, tea house, and with some spectacular views, mountains all around. I'm just going to move slowly so you can get a feel for the landscape here. It's about 7:30 a.m. Sun is already up, and you can see the endless mountain range all around. Look at the little snow-capped peak just peeking out. And then right across from the tea house, there's a Buddhist monastery. We visited yesterday, no photography allowed inside, but it's such a peaceful, beautiful place. And one nice thing here is many people are Buddhists and they are vegetarians. And there are no motorized vehicles in these towns. So absolutely zero pollution coming from the residents. Any pollution here is coming from people coming from outside the country, outside the area. On day 5, we start from Dingboche and head towards Dingboche. And we get to see some mountain ridges. We no longer get to see Mount Everest, but we do get to see other mountains along the way. And here you see these yaks. So at a lower elevation, you see the zopios, and the higher elevations, you get to see the yaks carrying the luggage. Another nice and clear day for the hike. Blue skies. We get to see the mountain ridges. We no longer get to see Mount Everest though, but we could still see Amadablam in the background as we walk through some alpine meadows, conifer trees, and some Buddhist monasteries along the way. Our guide was joking that Ama is smoking here, referring to the cloud. Okay, we are in this small town called Pangbuche, and it's a stop on the way to Dingboche, from Dingboche. And a couple of stores here, really quaint. And there's a dog taking a nap. And then there's this Sagarmatha National Park board, elevation 3,900 meters. It says Everest Base Camp, 15 hours walk. Every now and then you get to see the local people. They look so happy and they're always very welcoming. Here is a shot with a few Buddhist monks standing in front of the mountain. And we break for lunch. Guess what we have for lunch? Dal bath. And here is the yak, a mother yak with its baby. And so we stay at a distance. Don't want to spook her, but it's so beautiful to see this. We are now in Dingboche, which is a Sherpa village in the Kumbu region. Sits at an elevation of 14,469 feet, to be precise. And it's similar to Mount Elbert in Colorado in terms of elevation, in case anybody wants to practice that. And on this day is just acclimatization day in Dingboche. We get to do a practice hike to a little mountaintop, not too far from the town, just to climb high and sleep low and get the legs a little bit of exercise, but not too much exertion. Basically, a rest day here in Dingboche, and then we get ready for the hike to Labuche the next day. During the practice hike to the local mountaintop, you get to see the town below and also get to see stunning views of the mountains that we continue to see. And you can also feel the temperature dropping. I had to pull out my gloves, my hat, and then put on the jacket. But the views were really very memorable that day, the flags fluttering. This picture here is worth 1,000 words. Often people ask, do you think am I fit enough to go on EBC hike? Here you can see two people with prosthetics making the hike. So it's all about mental attitude. Enjoy the spectacular scenery at Dingboche. That morning when we woke up, we had some snow on the ground and you can definitely feel the temperature falling. Starting the hike from Dingboche, you get to see the spectacular view of the twin peaks, Tabuche and Cholatse. And then you get to see endless mountain ridges. I don't know all the names, but the view is just stunning at this point. Another beautiful spot on the way from Dingboche to Labuche, just a few minutes out of Dingboche. The view this morning is just spectacular, breathtaking, no pun intended. It's a nice climb. Sun is up and it is heavenly. It is just so amazing. As we continue the hike towards Labuche, we go through the Kumbu Valley and we get to see some views of mountains. In particular, we get to see the twin peaks of Tabuche and Cholatse, and also the one that appears really close is the Arakomse that appears to be coming closer as we keep walking, as we get towards the village of Dugla. And the village of Dugla is where we take a short break. Nepali music playing, very appropriate, very beautiful, feels so good. On the way to Labuche, few clouds coming together, but still the view is just spectacular, nothing short of spectacular. From the town of Tukla, we make our way to Tukla Pass, where there's a memorial. We'll see that in a few seconds. Along the way, you see some wild birds at a distance. We are now at Tukla Memorial. This place is a memorial for people who gave their lives in their expedition. You can see the flags, the remembrance.
Take me to important memorials.
All around. The stones are arranged neatly. And then the massive mountains bearing witness. Paying my respects to the fallen heroes here. We finally arrive at Labuche, settle into the tea house. Here you see the picture of the Sherpa who owns this tea house in the middle, flanked by our guide and the assistant guide. This is the much awaited day of the hike, heading towards Everest Base Camp. So we are starting out at Labuche. It was a particularly cold night, the previous night. Most of us hardly slept because of the cold. It was about 9 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. And we have to wake up at the crack of the dawn, just wash the face with some ice cold water and get started on the hike towards Gorakshep. We are on the way from Labuche towards Labuche Pass towards Gorakshep, right? Sun is up, thankfully, warming up a little. There was some 3 to 4 inches of snow on the ground. We have to trudge through the snow. About an hour from Gorakshep, just a rest stop. Sun is up finally. Made it warmer. Much appreciated. So reached Gorakshep, had a quick bite to eat, and then started towards Everest Base Camp. The sun had come up. The temperature has warmed up a little, thankfully, and I was able to remove the outer jacket and kept walking towards Everest Base Camp. So roughly halfway point between Gorakshep and the base camp. I didn't want to miss the scenery here. So beautiful. And I'm here with my friend Ram Charanji. He's helping me come up all the way. About half hour away from the base camp, we can see the yellow colored tents pitched up there. Beautiful vista. Bright, very bright. And finally, can you believe it? I made it to the base camp. Here I am standing on top of that rock that everybody is waiting to climb on top of. What a rush. I have to admit I had a few tears in my eyes as I climbed up on top. So the base camp sits at about 70,500 feet, and we started out at Lukla at about 9,500, which means about 8,000 feet gain over 8 days. Hey, this is a lifelong dream and waiting for it for 2 years, and today especially was really tough because when we left Labuche, it was cold, 9 degrees Fahrenheit, and to make things worse, 3 inches to 4 inches of snow on the ground, and it was so cold, almost frostbite cold. And then a couple of hours later, snow started to melt. That posed its own challenges. But it doesn't matter. I'm here. I thank the Almighty for making it possible. Thank you for all these guys from Nepal hiking team. They are just amazing. Thank you. Time to pose for some pictures at the base camp. I cannot say enough nice things about the company that I hiked with, Nepal hiking team. So many people crowding around the EBC. Mountains behind. See all the people they're waiting to their turn, or just simply chilling after the accomplishment. Hi Ramcharan. The day after EBC is the hike to Kala Patthar. Now, this is a hike that takes you to a place where there is the best view of Mount Everest. And this is the last climbing up day of the hike. The day we picked was a particularly cold day, and to make it even more interesting, we started the hike at 4:30 a.m. with headlights and all other paraphernalia. And as we started climbing up, the wind started to howl 30 miles per hour. So it definitely made it very interesting. At many points, I could barely open my eyes. And if you notice, I am in all the pictures and videos, which means I never took my gloves off to take any pictures, thanks to my guide who took all the pictures. You can start to see the view of Mount Everest in the next frame or so. You can see the triangle in the back with less snow. Here you go. And from here on, you can get a really nice view of Mount Everest. Now I want to address a couple of questions that come up. What does it take to get to EBC, and how can I train for it? Now, the first thing is that you have a strong desire to do this hike. And then there are a few other things you can do to get ready. Number one, see if you need to shed a couple of pounds. Use this opportunity to get into wellness. And secondly, start moving on a consistent basis. Go for a walk every day, maybe walk a few miles every day on a consistent basis. Third, really important, learn some breathing techniques. Sudarshan Kriya is one such breathing technique that can give you a huge leg up by expanding the lung capacity, by being able to extract more oxygen out. And then fourth, you can learn some yoga exercises to increase the digestive power. Now it's really important to keep your digestion going because as you get to higher elevation, you will lose the digestive power. And just go out and have fun. Hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to reach out to me if you need any pointers, and good luck with your hiking.